Yeah, I keep everything
questions?
generally. I keep generally everything interactive.
Okay.
So just a quick show of hands. How many people have ever woken in the middle of the night, really upset and agitated because the client was pushing you hard for discounts, and you didn't know what to do? Do you like fight back against your client and feel like you might risk the relationship and risk losing the deal? You sort of just eat it and take the hit, or do you take some half measure and then you're not sure where you end up? Has that happened to anybody? Show of hands. Okay. Well, we handle that situation. We make sure that that never happens to you again. So you know exactly what to do, how to bring that deal in on time before the forecast at full asking price and even maybe even higher than asking price. Does that sound like a good idea? Show of hands. Got a question. Why don't you guys type in the box? What are your biggest negotiation challenges? Why don't you type into the chat? Take 15 seconds to type in what are your biggest negotiation challenges. Anybody type in? Your client doesn't want to put up, Bryce, your client doesn't want to put up big money. Rochelle, don't want to give away the house, right? And you want to get paid what you're worth. You put a lot of quality time and quality effort in. Fee for a sponsorship followed by trusted ROI. You want to get something more than nothing. Free advertising. So there's a lot of different challenges that people have in negotiation. And what I'm going to do is just share a little screen. Can you guys see that?
Not yet. It's coming up. There you go.
Okay. So just about us. I'm Ron Hubsher. I run a company called the Sales Optimization Group. We specialize in sales and negotiation training. We work with a lot of companies worldwide. And just something you should know about negotiation. Negotiation is a big word. It's like saying, hey, I'm good at math. Well, what does that mean? Are you good at addition, subtraction, multiplication, algebra, calculus, differential equations? They're all different types of mathematics. The same is true as negotiation. There's different classes of negotiation. One type of negotiation is conflict resolution. So how do two parties of war come to peace? Well, how does a labor union negotiate with a corporation? And the key thing there is both parties have to deal with each other. And if you don't come to a good agreement, bad stuff's going to happen. So the labor union can go on strike or the company can shut down the factory. In the case of war or ongoing hostilities, if you don't come to some resolution, bad stuff's going to happen. Well, that's a very different negotiation than a business-to-business sales negotiation where you want to win the deal, beat out status quo and beat out competitors, command a price premium, and create a great long-term customer relationship. There are other folks who specialize in spot transactional negotiation. How do I beat a street vendor at 15 bucks? There's no sales process up front. There's no legacy on the back end. It's a one-time transaction. And what we had found, and the reason we found this, one of our clients said, Ron, can you find us a good negotiation vendor? And we couldn't find anybody who was really good. Most people either specialize in conflict resolution or spot transactional negotiation. So we really studied and pioneered business-to-business sales negotiation, a fundamentally different type of negotiation. And what's really interesting is if you try applying spot transactional or conflict resolution to a business-to-business sales negotiation, you'll often do more harm than good. But if you learn a business-to-business sales negotiation paradigm, it's backwards compatible. You can use it for conflict resolution and spot transactional. Does that make sense? Just a show of hands? Okay, excellent. So just want to lay that out. And the goals today are, we've got about 15 minutes, and I guarantee, or at least I hope you'll take a thing or two that'll make you a much better negotiator. Would that be a good victory for everybody? Okay, perfect. So here's just sort of an impact summary. I could walk you through the numbers, but if you discount 10%, you're gonna have to work 11% harder to make up that revenue shortfall. Based on a 40-hour work week, which I don't suggest anybody here is working 40 hours in a week, right? That'd be a light week. That's an extra 4 hours per week to make up that revenue shortfall, half a day, Saturday or Sunday. If you discount 20%, you're gonna have to work 25% harder to make up that revenue shortfall. That's an extra 10 hours per week. There's your day, Saturday or Sunday, your choice. If you discount 30%, you're gonna have to work 43% harder. That's an extra 17 hours per week. That's your whole weekend gone on top of your full 5-day-a-week work week. Are people feeling the pain of the slide, by the way? If you discount 40%, you're gonna have to work 67% harder. That's an extra 3.5 days on top of your 5-day work week. And these numbers get worse when you consider the average person these days is working 50, 60, 70 hours per week. And that doesn't even address the revenue that you lose, right? So what I say is when you negotiate well, it's like getting a time machine and a money machine, and who wouldn't want that? Does everyone feel this pain of the slide? I just want to see a show of hands. Okay. And Scott, where does negotiation start typically in a sales process?
You're on mute. Everybody's on mute, by the way. So, got.
Okay, as far as the negotiation and the sales process,
Yeah,
I believe that it starts at the very first conversation.
love it. Absolutely. So you're negotiating, even though typically, we think about a sales cycle and you get down to negotiation, you want to be thinking about you're negotiating with your customer and your prospect through the entire negotiation. And your negotiation even starts before the first call.
May I?
Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
Well, I just wanted to, what am I negotiating about? You have ideas about that, but I just wanted to share with you, one of the things you're negotiating about is just having that person stay either on the phone, or if you're in an in-person event, engaged with you to have that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, right? You might want to negotiate for a demo, but I want to get access to the CFO.
Their time.
Yeah, you want to negotiate for time, right? You're in constant negotiation. So you have to think about your negotiation strategy throughout the whole sales process.
Absolutely.
And there are two things you need to negotiate well. The first is you have to put a strong sales process in, right? A strong sales process creates the potential to negotiate well. If you combine that with a strong negotiation plan, you'll capitalize on that potential. If you have a weak or non-existent plan, you'll squander that potential. But there's nothing you will learn today. I'll guarantee you there's nothing that you will learn today that will make up for a poor sales effort. There's no magic abracadabra word, tactic, or trick you can do to make up for a poor sales effort. A strong sales effort is absolutely critical to negotiate well. Make sense to everybody? Show of hands. Okay. And here are some of the elements you can add in your own. This is sort of a typical list for business-to-business complex sale. What are the elements of a strong sales effort? The first is you have to be the buyer's number one choice. You can't discount your way to number one. The only way you can discount your way to number one is if all competitors vying for the same piece of business have done an equally poor job of selling. And then it's going to become a quick race to the bottom. And you're never going to want to win that race. You want to talk about how you're the least risky solution. And we always talk about is companies don't buy price, they buy risk. And this is really an important concept. So if in your sales process you can show you the least risky solution, you've earned the right to command a price premium. And remember, risk comes in there are a lot of different types of risk, but primarily two forms. One is business risk and one is personal risk. So what I always like doing during any of my sales process, I would make a list of all the buyers and I say, how do we lower their business risk and how do we lower their personal risk, right? What is it about helping them choose our solution that's going to lower their business risk, whether their personal risk, whether they want to spend more time coaching their son or daughter's softball game, or maybe they just don't want to screw up this project and sidetrack their career. So always make sure you're lowering the buyer's risk. You want to have a quantifiable, agreed on payback or cost justification, so you know the positive reasons you're doing this, so they're not focused on your price, but looking at the benefits. You want the personal benefits to the decision maker, right? How are they going to benefit? Are they going to spend more time with their family, get promoted, whatever is really personally important to them? And that, to me, is always the mark of a really good salesperson. You want to make sure decision makers are strong champions. You want to understand the cost of no action, so you don't lose the status quo. What's it going to cost if you take no action, right? What's the harm? Can you afford to do nothing? You want to make sure the prospect knows your competitive advantages and how they apply to them. You want to know the budget and decision-making process. And you want to know the buyer's compelling reason to move forward with the sale. Ideally, you want to know the go live date. And this is what I always look at as a gut check. Do I feel comfortable with premium pricing? Yeah, we're 30% higher, but we're worth it. And here's why. Does this look like a good list to you guys? Anybody want to add anything to this list? Okay, so it looks like a good list, right? So once you put that superlative sales effort in, here's the 7 steps of negotiation. And Michael, how are we on time? I just forgot what number.
6 minutes and 20 seconds left, including Q&A.
Okay, perfect. So the first is you want to reconfirm you're the buyer's choice. And before you go into negotiation, I like, before I even send out a proposal, like saying, hey, if price wasn't an issue, would we be your number one choice and why, right? Because when you hear yes to the first, it takes all the tension out. And when you hear why, you know all the reasons you should command the price premium. The second is you want to reconfirm the value and payback numbers, right? So rather than talking about defending your price, you can say, hey, look, why are we arguing about 10, 20, 15, $30,000? Each week of delay is costing you 100,000. Let's get this thing done. In fact, let's put you in the priority implementation queue. You want to anticipate getting squeezed on price. Look forward to it. Know it's coming and be disappointed if it don't squeeze you. And we use a simple analogy. We use a wet towel, dry towel analogy. And Michael, if I give you a wet towel and I said, squeeze this towel, and for every drop of water, I'll give you $1,000. How many times would you squeeze that towel?
Yeah, a number of times.
And when would you stop?
I guess when it was dry.
Okay. And what if I gave you a dry towel? How many times would you squeeze that?
Probably not at all.
Okay. I thought you were a little bit more of a New Yorker. I'm a native New Yorker, so I'd squeeze it 2 or 3 times. But even a native New Yorker would give up after 2 or 3 squeezes. So you want to look forward to being squeezed, right? You want to know it's coming and be prepared to resist squeezes. And I want you to really mentally take a mindset change and say, "Hey, I'm a little disappointed. I was expecting them to squeeze me 5 times. They only gave me 2 squeezes and they gave up. You know, it wasn't as much fun as I thought it would be, right?" So it's a really a mindset change. The fourth is to be proactive on the budget and decision-making process, eliminate obstacles before you counter them. If this is going to go through procurement, let's know that up front and have a procurement plan. Where else can they get budget? When else can they get budget? We're coming across a budgeting horizon. These are sort of sales 101s, but people are always hesitant to ask these questions. The fifth is to expand the pie with a set of non-monetary trade-ups. And when I say non-monetary, it doesn't mean it doesn't have a cost or a price. It just means the value to the customer is greater than the cost to us. So rather than give a $10,000 discount, I'd rather you give them $10,000 worth of training, which may only cost you 10% or 30% of that. Or it could be some sandwiches and some manuals, right? Or maybe you give them priority support, or maybe you allow them to start early if you're a SaaS company, right? Or a couple extra months free, which is only a fraction. And what do you want to get in return? Maybe you want a longer term commit, more users, all those different things. Step 6 is never give without getting. And this applies to your whole sales process. If you are going to give something, make sure you get something in return. And this is also something you take away from this immediately. Never discount around numbers. So never give 5%, give 3.73%, or don't give 10%, or $5,000, give 460, 4,653. But always make sure you're getting something in return and make that give hard to get, so they'll have respect for your give. And step 7 is know your walkaway price. That signals to the prospect that you've given any more and you've gotten the best price. Do these 7 steps seem appropriate for everybody? You guys want to type in the box?
Yeah, I got a question. Why the no round, not giving round numbers of 5%, but 3.26%?
Oh, when you give round numbers, it's like a throwaway price. It's like, oh, that's Michael's giving me 5%. Let's push him for 10. When you say 4.97%, it looks like you did some real number crunching, and they're less hesitant. They're a little more hesitant. It also gives you some headroom just in case they come back at you again. Right. So what happens is we work with a lot of sales organizations. If a rep can give 10%, what's their first discount? 10%, right? Give 7.32, and you'll usually stop it right there.
Right. Does that go for the initial quote as well? I mean, if you have, if you're providing a service, for example, if you give a round number, $15,000, sounds usually, it sounds like, oh, it's sort of arbitrary. But if you say, oh, it's 14,750.
Yeah, I'm not as sensitive on the outgoing quote side, but you're probably better. I bet if you did that, you'd probably get good results for as always, your 3 steps. You're playing 3-dimensional chess, which is awesome. So I would actually do that. Yeah. Got a question for the people on the call. Out of these 7 laws, how many do you think people are using on average? Anybody want to type in the box?
Chat.
For some reason, I've lost my ability to see the chat, so my apologies.
Really?
Yeah, it's just user error. I don't know how to make the screen big enough to see the chat.
So we have 2. I said 2 to 3. 2 more messages. 2.
Perfect. The average sales professional uses 1.5. So just by adding a step or 2, you can't help but make progress. And I promise you in 15 minutes, you'll be a much better negotiator. You have to be the buyer's number 1 choice. Always ask if price was an issue, would be your number 1 choice. Why? Right? Be prepared for squeezes. Look forward to it. Know it's coming. Look for trade-ups whenever you can. And never give without getting. If you are going to get a discount, don't use a round number and get something in return. So there are 4 or 5 key takeaways that hopefully will make you a better negotiator in less than 15 minutes.
What about using the discount as the way to close? So when they ask you for the discount, you can say, I'll go calculate it, but if I do, are you ready to buy? Is that a way you use it?
Yeah, you always want to make it a gain commitment. Well, just don't give a discount because they say it. It's like, okay, if I can do this, I'm not saying I can. If I can do this, I got to know you're going to get the paperwork signed by 5 o'clock today, and you're going to commit to a faster rollout, right? So I'd ask for the deal and something else. And also, I would look to number 5. hey, rather than giving you a $5,000 discount, want to give you $10,000 worth of extra training. Isn't that a better agreement?
The inverse of that, and you couldn't see it in the chat, maybe my question was, when you mean getting something, often in negotiation, I say, well, if you want to lower the price X, I can't give you as many seats to the XYZ event as you would like. So I take something out, so it's congruent with the reduction of the fee or the price.
Mm-hmm.
Is that getting something? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You can take stuff out. If you don't like it, we're going to have to take significant parts out. I always just sort of like getting something in return rather than taking stuff out. You can take stuff out, but I'd rather say, and by the way, one of the great trade-ups for software companies is if you have a user conference, give extra tickets to the user conference, right? Because it costs you almost nothing. And when they're at the user conference, your users are selling them. Like for most of our SaaS companies, we have them give away tickets to their user conference, just as an example.
All right. We'll take one more question.
Oh,
okay. You have one more last question.
Then I have a poll question. Do you guys feel like you're better negotiators now than you were 15 minutes before? Wendy, I don't see.
Absolutely.
Rochelle, yes, no? Okay.
All right. Any other questions? We'll take one more and then we'll jump right into our roundtable.
Yeah, I've got a question. I'm interested in your comments about reducing risk and wanted you to address specifically reducing risk when you're selling a new technology or a new approach where they're using something else and you're trying to pull them away from that into something they haven't tried before that has a higher perceived risk just by changing.
Yeah. So one status quo is always, that's what people are going to go with. So I would say when you're talking about status quo, what's the risk of not changing, right? Are you going to become uncompetitive? Are you not going to be able to, satisfy the market? I don't know your business well enough, but there's a risk of not changing. And then I always look for people's personal risk as well. I'll give you a great example. This was 20 years ago. I was selling SaaS software before it was cool and like a name brand. You'd have to explain to people what SaaS was. And this guy was hooked into old client server software. And this was the director of IT, and he was a big blocker. And I've had to figure out how he's going to lower his risk. And by the fact that he was servicing this old, broken down, clunky client server software that didn't work, he had lifetime employment at this place. Right? When that thing broke, he was the one guy who knew how to fix it. So what I showed to him was that, yeah, if you look at the jobs openings, we didn't do this in a room full of 10 people. I just said, hey, if you look at job openings, the company they used was SalesLogix, which was a dying client server thing. And I said, there aren't that many job opportunities for SalesLogix, but look at all the new SaaS software companies that are looking for admins and stuff like that. That's the way of the future. So by putting our product in, not only will you know the SalesLogix, which is the old client server, you'll know the new stuff, right? So it was presenting to him in a new light of like, yeah, if I don't change, I'm going to be stuck here in my SalesLogix job where I'm, pretty soon I might have this job, but it's the only job I'll ever be good at, as opposed to opening up job possibilities. I'm not saying, John, that's appropriate, but always think about, well, how do I lower their risk? If I was them, this is new technology. Why would I want to take that risk and lose my job? Well, here's why you want to take that risk.
All right, we'll do one more question. Rochelle.
Not a question, but lower risk. I've worked with a lot of clients that if you can give any kind of a guarantee, and that's real risk reversal. Because I work with somebody that does a very interesting non-for-profit. I mean, when he was doing non-for-profit fundraising online, and he was streamlining it, and he was charging quite a bit for it. And he said, when you made, let's just say $20,000 on a regular thing, if we don't at least match the 20,000 on the streamliner, we'll pay you the difference, because he knew that he can make the money. So he gave the guarantee, and when he gave the guarantee, it really, a lot of times if and a lot of times, and I've seen that with purchases stuff that I have. It's very big in the information industry. So they guarantee what they do. They guarantee their programs. And they say that out of, let's say, 200-300 people, one person can ask for their money back. So, and the differences of the amount of people that sign up because there's a guarantee is pretty huge. So you've got to look at, and that's when they call it, a risk reversal. Can you take on more of the risk so that the other person is not quite as concerned And they think that there's like, a way out. So I think that there's a lot around that.
Hmm.
And I've worked with clients and I've told them that if they can guarantee their product, and then, again, in the long run, how many people really ask for their money back? Very few.
And very similarly, a lot of clients, and it may or may not be appropriate for people on this call, but a lot of people say, hey, can you get a discount? I go, yeah, I'll share in the upside. And then they quickly calculate how much they could potentially share in the upside. And they're like, no, we'll go full asking price. Does that make sense? I don't know if that's appropriate for other people on this call. Show
Yeah,
of
I
hands,
think
would that be appropriate?
Could be.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Thank you very much, Ron.
Thank
Appreciate your knowledge and sharing that knowledge with us. I did put in the chat the order more or less in which people showed up. So we will go in that order. So Faith, Rochelle, Scott, then Wendy. Wendy, I think this is maybe your first time. You'll get the picture. You'll get it from the other four who do their presentation. I'm sure you've done these as well before. So why don't we do 2 minutes, since there are 12 of us, and excluding Ron, who's already gone. And we have 28 minutes left, so that should work.
And you left me off the list.
I did. All right, so sorry about that. Can I add you last?
Yeah, you can just
Give
don't,
him 3 minutes. He's got more content.
All right, sorry about that, Keith.
Don't
Faith,
worry.
you're up. Oh, if everybody would go on mute, because I'm going to put it on speaker mode so that the recording will highlight the speaker. Thank you. Faith, you're up.
Hi, my name is Faith Tomases, and I am a communicator. Essentially, I help people, companies, whatever, articulate what they want to say and put it into words. So I'm a writer, but I also do brand strategy, which is all the thinking about what's going into the problem that we're trying to solve and what we want to communicate. My real point of difference is that I get to the point very quickly, which is important for website writing and particularly name development. I have a very strong name development portfolio, and I'm open to anyone, a company or an individual or other firm that can use a specialist in this area. So I work primarily on project basis, and I'm located in New York City right now. My fun fact for the week is that my daughter's at Syracuse, and they had the first parents' weekend ever in my lifetime because of COVID. So I got to see a D1 football game, Syracuse versus NC State, and 40,000 people in a stadium was pretty exciting, and it was filled with orange, and Syracuse won. So that's my fun fact.
Very cool. And thing that I remember is that you came up with the name Icon for Icon Parking.
Yes, yes.
Wonderful.
Just remember that.
She's an icon in her field. Moving on, Rochelle Lisner.
Hi there, it's Rochelle from Dynamic Business Growth, and I always say that it's dynamic business growth and not schlep along business growth. And I find that so many business owners, they really struggle with talking about their business in a compelling way. 9 out of 10, they're long-winded, boring, and very common. They sound like everybody else in their industry. And the other evil that they do is they try to put a size 10 foot of information in a size 6 shoe. So you walk away, and at least I do, I'm totally uninterested, and I gather so many others. So I want to know, how do you pull a rabbit out of a hat? So I want to know, I want to know your level of expertise, and the easiest way to do it is I always ask, are you storytelling or boring telling? Did you tell me the most dynamic story that based on that, I get to see your level of expertise or not? And creating some of these dynamic stories is what I do great work with companies. So I'm looking to meet people that do a lot of presentations for their organization. That's one area of expertise. And the other one is working with sales teams, because they too have to know how to tell a dynamic story. And the last thing, I love working with family-owned businesses. Dad started the business, next generation's coming in, and we are dealing with a massive IV, and I just love to untangle that. So again, it's Rochelle from Dynamic Business Growth.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Rochelle. Next up, Scott Lange.
So good afternoon again, everybody. Thank you very much, Michael, for organizing Trusted Referral Network every other week. for the afternoon. Most of you I've met, some of you are new and welcome aboard. I'm in the partnerships and alliances business. My mantra is to, partnerships and alliances to generate or attain business results. I'm working currently on the Properties World Pro Ski Tour, the naming rights for the iconic Manhattan Center. I have an NGO that I'm waiting to hear. That's a national governing body of the U.S. Olympic Committee, a university arena up near you, Keith. And my give to you is if anybody has referrals, I do, or anybody can open doors on any of these types of properties and wants to talk to me about properties and philanthropic initiatives, which I work on as well. I split commissions or work out a referral fee, and I don't expect you to do much heavy lifting. It's just, I don't know everybody, so sometimes I need help with that. And my give is if you need consultation on any of the areas I've worked on in digital marketing, branding, sponsorship and alliances in particular, I'm happy to give an hour of my time or something like that to help you, maybe figure out a solution to a problem or prompt you to find your own solution to a problem. So thank you very much, everybody, for your time and attention. I put my LinkedIn in there, and I wish you all a lot of continued success.
Scott is very well connected. So if you need connections, particularly in the sports marketing world, one of his areas of expertise, definitely reach out to Scott. Wendy Austin, a guest.
So welcome to me to this group. But I worked for WebMD and Medscape for 14 years before I started my own agency. And rather than going out on my own, I actually joined a global network of independent consultants. So I do digital marketing mostly, website development, design, a bit of branding. I do SEO, mostly in the healthcare arena. So if it's a health consumer or health professional company that's looking to get the attention of either direct to consumer for health products or a B2B type of marketing with technology that they're trying to sell into health organizations, that's really the type of client that I take on. So as a part of being a global organization, I also have opportunities to work with other agencies in other parts of the globe. So a lot of my clients are interested in being able to do a campaign for maybe something like medical education across the world. So I'm able to support that.
That's great. And you're based where again?
I'm in Connecticut, so I'm literally halfway between New York and Boston.
Very good. So medical health solutions and broad range services in terms of digital marketing.
Correct. Yes.
Wonderful. And thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I think Wendy and I'm not sure, maybe we met on Lunch Club.
No, we've met on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Wonderful. All right. LinkedIn does work. Sharon Mostyn, recovering from the winds of Ian. Was it Ian?
It was Ian. So I guess that's kind of my fun fact. I'm going to share my screen for 2 seconds. This is how Ian impacted Southwest Florida. The white dot is where it made landfall, and the black dot is where I am at. So I own Austin Marketing Group. We're a full service marketing and advertising agency. We primarily focus on analytics and measurement, whether that's analytics and measurement from an SEO perspective, from a PPC perspective, email marketing. We handle all of those things. I am not a designer, developer, creative person. I'm a numbers junkie. And so if you're looking to measure what you're doing, that's my background. I started out with 20 years in direct response television. The idea behind DRTV is that there's always a call to action. Do it today, call now, come into our website, visit our stores. There's always some form of measurement. How many people actually did it today, called now, came into the website, visited the stores. And then there's always some optimization. That transitioned very easily into digital. And we, as an agency, became a Google partner. And basically what that means is that we've passed all the exams and we spend enough money with Google that occasionally they'll send us a coffee mug. So, we work everything from for-profits to nonprofits, small mom and pop heating and air conditioning companies in Apex, North Carolina, to global turnaround and restructuring companies, and global companies coming out of Japan, opening up into the U.S. market. So we do a little bit of everything for everybody. I would say probably 40% of our business is working with other agencies like yours. We call it AFTA, Agency for the Agency, where we provide additional skill sets or bandwidth for other agencies. So nice to meet you all, and I look forward to connecting.
Yes,
Bryce,
absolutely.
definitely, let's catch up.
Yep. You got a request from Bryce. All right, great. And I think, were you on the call when Mohammed Siddiqui was on? I think that was a couple of weeks ago. He might be a good person to talk to. He does over-the-top TV advertising. So
Okay, great.
very, very measurable stuff.
Awesome.
Okay. Let's see who is next. Mark or Iorio.
Thank you, Michael. Sharon, is that boat prior to sitting there prior to Ian? I hope.
That is prior to Ian. It's still there, which
Oh,
many
good.
of our neighbors' boats are not. We went, we took the kayak and the paddle boards out over the weekend and went around to kind of the closest canals. And during like at the intersection of our canal, there's a boat that's flipped upside down, and just kind of waiting for Cito to come get it. So we lost some covers, but I'll take it. It was very minor.
Glad you're here. So I'm Mark Iorio. I have a business called the Brand and Culture Alignment Toolkit. Keith has participated in that. I am partnered with Al Cini. We developed a survey instrument that helps organizations align their brand and culture. So it's helping the marketing team develop a consistent messaging throughout the organization, sales and marketing, and also operations change their daily behavior to become more like the North Star of the organization or the team or the role target. Recently, Al and I brought on a third partner. Her name is Lisa Manioki, and we have developed something called Pro Fit for Teams. It's a BCAT's a long process. It takes a long time to develop that, change behavior inside the organization. So the Pro Fit for Teams is a 1 day or half-day workshop where it is real time, and you watch as the organizational North Star comes together with a group of folks inside the organization. The 2 or 3 things that they can do each day or contribute to each day to help that organization become a more cohesive, aligned culture inside the organization. It's ProFit, PRO-fit4teams.com. I'll throw that in the chat. I also have a couple television shows that I host. Rajiv was on not too long ago. Keith Reynolds was on CEO Chat. You are all welcome to talk to me later on offline. Love to have you on. Rainmakers Roundup, The Advocates, and the third one is a curse word, which I'm not going to repeat at this point, but it starts with an F, and it's F ups. It's a celebration of business failures, and all of you have probably experienced one of those things in the past. Studios in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. It's about 9,000 square feet, so it's quite a place. We have about 80 shows.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So
go ahead, Michael. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I just learned that I was always pronouncing your name wrong. It's Iorio, not Iorio, correct?
Well, the Italian expression is, or pronunciation is Iorio, and I figured with a name like Bendit, you must be Italian. So you're pronouncing it like a true Italian. It's
That
okay.
must be it. All right. But I did interrupt you. You want to finish your?
No,
your-
I'm pretty well finished. I'll stick the profit. I had the BCAT email in the chat. I'll put my Profit website in there if you want to take a look at that. And if you know of anyone whose team's misaligned or they've got that passive aggressiveness inside the organization, we can help them.
What do you charge for that Profit program?
The half-day workshop, $79.95, $7,995 for 10 people. And then, it goes up from there if there's more. We can accommodate probably 25 people in a room at the same time.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And I
Thank
put
you.
the interview that you guys that Al did in the chat.
Of you?
A great show.
Was that your interview?
Yeah.
Nice, Keith.
All right, Mark, our other Mark Herre, you're up.
Mark Herre here calling. Hey, I just have a quick question. No, you don't need to raise your hand. How important is it to just get found or visibility to your own website and getting new clients? I'm sure you're all probably thinking, yeah, it's important. And I wanted to just say that'll be the topic of next week's Monday or Tuesday morning session. I get a showcase. So if you guys have any ideas of what you want to hear from a guy like me, I've been doing search engine optimization since 1996 as a business owner, and I learned a few tricks. So I call it my presentation next week, the dirty little secrets that your vendor is probably not going to tell you if you have to team up with vendors to help you with your own SEO on your own website or your client's website if they're very competitive. So what I like to do is I just want to let you know, I help get first page rankings for top keywords in 30-day trials. I call that a test drive. The good news is we make history on your website and get rankings is that you get paid only when the results show up. Now, a lot of people hate that model and I don't really care, but it's the model that I sleep well at. And I help websites and the owners feel comfortable that I'm actually getting production and doing it in a transparent way. My tagline is no rank, no pay. And after doing this for 26 years, I really love it when the client's satisfied with the results. And, after the meeting, if you have a website or a client that you work with that's very competitive, I do white label. I can produce a keyword audit. I'm very good at keyword audits. And anyway, Mark Herre with SEO Game. My ideal client is somebody who wants to get to the first page of Google in a trial. Thanks so much.
Very cool. And there's the guarantee that that Rochelle was talking about right there. Okay, Jon Stamell.
Thank you, Michael,
Second
first
guest.
for inviting me to this. It's been really interesting. I'm founder of a customer engagement platform, which is called Umiji. I'll put that in the chat. We enable brands to do one-to-one marketing at scale, and they can segment their customers by interests, needs, perceptions, as opposed to what customer data platforms do, which is segmenting people based on third-party tracking or cookies, which are going away, past behavior, web traffic, those kinds of things. And CDPs are the reason why when you go and you buy something, say at Amazon, for the next 2 weeks, when you open up your local newspaper online, you're getting ads for the same thing that you already bought. And so we're able to avoid that by actually finding out what people are interested in with regard to a particular product. If you'd like to see how that works and you're interested, I'd be happy to set up a demo for you. Michael has seen the platform, and And it's pretty innovative, and we're getting a lot of attention for it. It works particularly well for any consumer brand where consumers, by learning more about the product, become better buyers and more informed buyers of the product.
Very good. And I recall it's got a pretty broad range of capabilities. It has email marketing in it and other, it ties together a bunch of capabilities, which makes it pretty impressive.
Basically, there are 5 marketing stacks combined into one, and they're all integrated, which gives you more capabilities. So you've got a form of a CRM, you've got acquisition, measurement, market research, net promoter score. They're all on one platform. And so it also reduces costs as well.
Very good. Thank you so much. Bryce, you're up. Bryce, are you with us? There you go.
Yeah.
Bryce.
Hey, everybody. So I'm Bryce from Mind of a Marketer. So we typically do outside the box types of things, like we set up Infinite Google, which can get for-profit companies about $10,000 a month in Google ad spend that they don't have to pay for. We have a PPC optimizer for large accounts, something we're pretty proud of. But today I really wanted to talk to you guys specifically about, the problems we're having in the economy just in general. This recession coming down the pipeline, everybody's going to be looking to, save money on their services and whatnot. I actually just lost a client today for SEO because, they just couldn't continue because they weren't making enough money. So one of the things that we have in our arsenal is a payment processing partner. So we were able to bid on basically anybody's payment processing as if they were a Costco. We're working with Elevon, and if anybody would like a partner as well, to offer that to their clients or save on your own payment processing, happy to have that call with everybody, because this is something that's consistent, it's residual, and as long as the company functions, you'll still get paid on it. So it's usually not a lot of money, but as a potential partner, you can make a 20% rev share from our partner. So if you're interested in having that conversation with me, happy to have it with you. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, and Bryce and his partner are wizards in marketing, do some interesting stuff with technology.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bryce, and he's based in Vancouver.
Yeah, Vancouver, Canada. So your money actually goes further with me.
There you go. Let's see, Rajiv, you're up. Rajiv, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. The unmute button took like a few more clicks than usual.
Go for it.
Okay, yeah. Hi, everyone. Great to meet you all. I'm going to startle you with a story. It's Halloween time, so I think it's befitting that I share something spooky for this venue. So here are some spooktacular facts. 50% of all reviews that you see online, false. Yes, you heard me right. They're false. Why? Because the person posting the review is posting to the wrong company. They're obviously in a highly triggered state, very emotional, and they're posting to the wrong company. 50. 25% of other remaining reviews, guess who posts them? Douchebag competitors. That's right. You heard me. Douchebag competitors post the balance 25% of bad reviews. So what are you left with? 25%. So that means you can essentially only trust 25% of bad reviews online, which, as you know, you can't make everyone happy. And that's probably the reason why they post those reviews. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because there's a whole bunch of fraud going around. And that's the reason why I do what I do, which is to scrub, delete, remove all that junk, all those lies from Google and social, which is not just bad reviews, but scandal and misinformation and private information, so that businesses like you can continue to be awesome. Because I know that you guys are making a difference to this world. And that's the reason I do what I do. My ask is to meet with other marketing companies, since most of our business comes from agency partners who either white label us to mark up our fee by whatever extent they want, or rev share if they choose to refer business to us. So it's a win-win either way. Either way, you're getting paid. So I think whenever we talk about money and getting paid, that usually gets people's attention. That's the reason I mention it. I think I dropped my LinkedIn in the chat. I'll do it again so it's easy for you to find. And I look forward to getting better acquainted with those of you who I'm not already acquainted with. Thanks, Michael. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Keith Reynolds, you're up. We're getting down to the last 4 minutes. So Keith, and then I will go.
Terrific. Well, I'll go really, really fast. How many of you work for clients that don't seem to have a strategy or have holes in their strategy? Well, that's the problem we solve. I am a fractional CMO, and we help clients organize their go-to-market efforts. And we do that through SEO and content strategy. I don't do the on-page, and I don't do the technical. I do competitive SEO. So I help you get a handle on how your competition is presenting itself in the market and how Google sees you. And Google wants to see you the way your customers should see you. So we help align that and find white space for you to create content that's relevant. I also manage executive roundtables, podcasts, and webinars. And this is a really great way for B2B customers to be in contact with their clients and partners and involve them. Even clients today are hungry for content. And when you host them, they end up with content for themselves if done correctly. And lastly, I help optimize marketing automation and CRM so that you get results. Why do I do that? Well, I've been writing and producing websites since 1995. I 10 years ago wrote a blog and got asked to testify to Congress on behalf of the company I worked for in the area of radiological security. And that, that's the kind of credibility a blog can give you. I was the marketing guy, so I ended up taking some technical people with me as well. And then I also built a content program for Kodak. And when they sold the division, the acquiring company wanted to buy essentially the blog and all the content with it. And they negotiated a premium on the initial offer. So we work with CEOs, CFOs, they're on the ROI model, CEOs on the strategy, the marketing team we help manage. If there's a marketing director, somebody doesn't have our skill set, we're very collaborative, and we even work with agencies. I'm doing an assignment right now on content strategy, working with an agency. So we'd love to talk to you. If you or a client has any need in that area, I'd love to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I didn't miss anybody, right? I know Keith came in a little bit late, so you were last, but I will go last. My name is Michael Bendit. My core business is called Software Development Resources, and that's what I provide. I'm a solopreneur, but I represent about a dozen teams that do software development, and about 60% of our work is in the marketing world. So building websites, mobile applications, e-commerce sites, that's the bread and butter. We do a lot of work with agencies that don't always have those resources in-house, or even if they've got some technical programming capabilities in-house, they oftentimes run out of bandwidth. It's a lot of work. A programmer can only work on so many different sites at once, and sometimes they don't have the right skill set for the particular opportunity. But the agency doesn't want to lose the opportunity, so they reach out to me and say, Michael, do you have anybody, a team that's got this skill set, worked with this platform? My approach is very consultative. I start with understanding what the client is looking for before I connect them with the team, because my job is to make sure that it's the right team. So people come to me when they're not sure where to go for a particular technical skill in building a site, and I help them navigate that. I also am very concerned about how the client spends their money. And so I usually will tell them, how to go about reducing their risk. Like Ron said early on, people buy risk, not price. And so part of what I'm offering is advice on how do you reduce your risk? How do you start with, for example, a proof of concept, so that you can be sure that what you're trying to do is doable before you spend the entire amount on building it out, and then find out there's some major glitch that's going to be a problem for you to be a viable business or a viable site. So I love to speak with agency owners. About, I don't know, 40% of our business comes from relationships with existing agencies. We've actually a little bit over today. It's 6:02 here on the East Coast. I know some of you have to jump, but before you do, open up your chat window, click on those three dots, and hit Save Chat so you get all of the comments, all of the LinkedIn URLs that people have put in there. And next week, we are meeting, of course, on Wednesday morning, and Mark Herre will be presenting the dirty little secrets of SEO. So thank you. If you want to present starting November 1st, let me know, or just go to the site where it's our sign up site. I just put it up in the chat. That's the sign up zone where you can sign up to take a 15-minute slot. Everybody have a great evening. Thank you so much for joining, and hopefully we'll see you again next week or in an upcoming week.
Thank you, Michael.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I appreciate you, Michael. Appreciate everybody.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Ron, again for presenting.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah.